We found the internet historian video y'all have been saying that we need to catch up on. I knew that he posted. I'm trying to stay on top of shit, but you gotta understand. You know when we're gonna watch these videos?
Whenever the
When
fuck
we
I say
can.
so.
Oh, whenever the fuck Nikki says so. Okay, all right. Now, do I need to spank you on camera
Oh my god!
to find out who the man is? Is that what's gonna have to happen?
No, you literally like opened up and you're like, "We're doing it on camera," and I was like, "Wait, what?"
I didn't say that. I said we're doing it.
Oh.
Where are you at? What have you been doing at work? What's happening at your workplace? Have I been running through your mind all day in a thong?
Okay, well, we're gonna watch this fancy
Oddities by Internet Historian, which I'm always excited when he puts a video out. Sometimes very eager to react to the video so that I can watch it. But we've waited, I hope, an amount of time that is not going to irritate anybody. I think this has been out for over a week or something.
We usually just like only have a couple days because I work, and so yeah, we're getting to it when we can.
When we can. But I'm excited. It's nice to have something to look forward to. This has been a video that I've looked forward to, and I am excited to say, as we start into this one, it looks like it is sponsored by NordVPN, which means Nordman may make an appearance.
Nordman.
Yeah. So I hope you guys are ready for this one. We've been looking forward to it. Let's do the damn thing.
Brought to you by NordVPN.
It's been a minute since that happened.
Yeah. He's been having to make side characters.
Oh. It's you. You've completed the crash course on theatre and wine, have you? Feeling smug, are we? Deserving of love, perhaps? Worthy of eye contact? That's cute. But there's still a lot more work to be done. Look here. These shoes are made from real Italian leather. This bag is made from the leather of real Italians.
There you go.
Not impressed? How about this fur coat? It's made from the wolf.
The wolf
of Wall Street.
Oh, okay.
An Xbox with the original PT demo still installed. What? A signed first edition copy of Moby Dick with its little-known sequel, Moby Ball.
Oh my god.
And last but not least, the squid from Squid Game.
That's a cuttlefish.
Don't you get it? Oddities. Weird stuff. I mean, the first section's on perfume. Listen, I'm going to level with you. I kind of got distracted, and we went off topic. I don't even know what this is about anymore.
Oh my god.
Here's my Netflix stand-up special. It should explain everything.
Oh my god.
That's going to be a hard act to follow. That Kramer guy has some very good one-liners.
Oh,
but I've got
Kramer.
some jokes lined up.
I don't get it.
Question. Why is perfume so...
Like Seinfeld? I don't get it.
Kramer.
I don't know who the fuck that is.
You don't know who Kramer is? How?
The guy from Seinfeld. Even though I've never watched all of Seinfeld. I didn't like it growing up.
That guy.
The guy from Seinfeld!
Do you not remember, like, how his career ended?
I was like 2!
No, after Seinfeld. This motherfucker was on stage at a comedy club getting heckled, and he just started calling people the N-word, yelling. Do you not remember?
No.
He was like, N-words!
No.
Like, on stage, yelling. Yeah.
No, I didn't know that. I didn't like.
Now
when did
you
this
know.
happen?
Early 2000s.
Yeah, I would. I don't know. I wouldn't have known that.
I mean, motherfucker, you were watching VH1. You know they had all the tabloid shit on there.
I didn't care about the Kramer from Seinfeld.
Nobody did.
Anyway,
that's the reason
all
why
right.
he was mad to begin with, probably. But anyway, yeah. So that's what he's referring to there.
So expensive. 'Cause you have to pay perfume.
All right.
Why do they call it cologne? But I've got some jokes lined up. Question. Why is perfume so expensive? 'Cause you have to pay perfume. Why do they call it cologne? Have you ever smelt one of those? It ain't great. Oh? Mic must not be working. Deodorant? In this market? I'd want a deodor buy. Is this thing on? Okay, let me tell you the story of perfume. See, to be fancy, people wanted to stink good, but people naturally stink bad. It's science.
Yeah.
So in the beginning, people went to the garden to find the best-smelling things that they could. Here's a photo of the oldest perfume bottles ever found. And what's inside?
1,000 years ago.
Just garden stuff that smells nice. But we did not just stop at that, because the story of perfume is the story of progress. By the time Cleopatra came around, perfume science had really advanced. You see, Cleopatra loved perfume. In fact, it was said that she had a whole perfume factory. The olfactory, I believe they called it. But this factory wasn't just mashing flowers. They were using emulsifiers, adding resins, creating tinctures. Cleopatra's very own Chanel No. 1 contained cardamom, cinnamon, olive oil, and myrrh. So we've gone from garden to pantry. And she loved spritzing the stuff everywhere, supposedly even spraying it all over the sails of her ship. That way people could smell her from miles off as she sailed the Nile. By the early Middle Ages, we had figured out the formula for perfume. Effectively, there are three main components: water, alcohol, and the most important bit, the aromatic oils. And by the way, perfume and cologne are actually the same thing, but in different ratios of these ingredients. By the 1600s, they were trying all sorts of different things. Some things went well. Dude, pine. Pine. What about orange? I call it new car smell. But once global trade opened up, our tastes became more exotic. Out of the pantry and into the petting zoo. For you see, it turns out that animals have been hoarding all of the most bestest perfume smells. Yes. In the olden days, a bunch of manly men would brave very rough seas in order to pull aboard sperm whales. Now, they would cut open the digestive tract and pluck out a secretion of bile called ambergris, or in English, grey amber. Sometimes they would harvest the rest of the whale, but eventually ambergris became so valuable that it was simply more economical to dump the carcass back in the ocean and collect the next batch. Like when you kill a racehorse for its prize-winning jizz and then just leave it there on the tracks. All right, quick science lesson, eggheads. Ambergris comes from the gross part of the whale. And when the whale eats something quite sharp, let's say human bones, the ambergris forms around them and protects the lining of the gut. That's the ambergris' role. That way, as the sharp thing continues down the intestines, the whale doesn't get poked. But if ambergris comes from a whale's digestive tract, what does it smell like? Surely not good. When it's dry, it smells kind of woody and earthy, but when it's wet, it smells like ass. But it's not actually the smell that's the useful function. Ambergris is a fixative. So what it does is heighten and bring out the scent of other things. These flowers,
How did they figure that out?
they smell all right, but add some ambergris and, that's the one. Now, once they figured this out, they realized, there's a whole bunch of things we can use a fixative for. And they got quite gross with it. They added it to food.
Just a touch.
In fact, it was said that King Charles's favorite dish was ambergris on eggs. But they didn't stop there. They added it to rum. They added it to coffee. They added it to cigarettes and smoked it. And they used it as an aphrodisiac. Now, some people will say that the whale is a mammal. But that's not strictly true. It is, in fact, a fish. Just look at the tail. And you may have also heard that there are a lot fewer of them these days. which, although a relief because their absence helps offset the sea level change, climate, whatever, we were worried that we might run out. So we said no more hunting whales for ambergris. But did that stop the perfumers? No. They immediately asked, hey, do you think there are any other animals that smell kind of weird? Yes. Turns out the musk deer has some potential. Now we hunt the male musk deer specifically because it has a particular gland called a musk pod, which, when dried out, looks like this. And it uses it to mark its territory and attract mates. Now, don't worry. Unlike ambergris, this doesn't smell like ass. Instead, it smells like ammonia and piss.
Ew.
And you just can't get a smell like that at home. So we started hunting them to the point where they were a protected species. So the authorities said, you have to find a different animal. So
Or
from there,
just
they moved on
not.
to hyrax feces. One of the most feared and dangerous animals in all of Africa.
For perfume.
And it was the inspiration for the original Lynx Africa smell. Now, their feces, when dried, is called hyracium, or Africa stone.
Or poop.
But it's not just these ones, they have other stones in Africa.
Dried
Come
poop.
on, guys. Now, the smell is fairly similar to deer musk, but unlike the deer, the hyrax doesn't need to be killed or disturbed for their feces.
Yeah.
They're just giving it away. In fact, hyrax even have a communal toilet, which is used for generations, which makes it very easy to collect up all the good stuff. But it's not just the hyrax, I've got other animals. Remember those civets from the virus videos?
The virus, yeah.
Wait, don't wash that thing's anus. Mom, get the bottle. Turns out it's the anal gland of the civet that's actually the important smelling bit. Who's figuring this out? Why don't they use the good parts of the animal?
Seriously.
It's the bacon part of the pig, you know? Anyway, it's the ass that produces all the delicious musk.
It smells like shit.
Yeah.
But it must be good for something because it goes for $4,000 a kilo. But we ain't done yet. You know when you've just killed a beaver and you cut open its right
No, I
abdomen?
don't.
Well, the reason it smells so good is because of a little gland called the castor sac, which makes a yellowy scum-like substance called castoreum. And it is used to waterproof the beaver's fur coat and also mark its territory.
Because they need
It is also very fragrant.
For
And you know what
them.
that means. If it smells, it sells. And in this case, castoreum is more kind of leathery, with smoky hints of vanilla. But unfortunately today, you're not allowed to harvest the beaver. They're walking around very smugly, just like the other protected animals. But you know what? We don't need them, because we have a synthetic version of castoreum now,
Yeah.
and it's just as good. And you know what? We've got a synthetic for the whale, the deer,
Yeah.
and the civet now.
Perfect.
And they're used in lots of mainstream perfumes.
That's
Modern
disgusting.
day, we've got a synthetic version of practically everything. And even better, the advancement of synthetics has opened up a huge range of smells that were never possible to distill or capture before. And the result is some very silly perfumes. You know that bacon bit of the pig? We got that now. Windex smelling, pretty much anything you can think of, really, someone has
Funeral
created
home.
a fragrance of it. In some instances, we're even beating nature herself. For example, you know those roses that you get at the florist? And then people go, these smell beautiful. But actually, those roses are not bred to smell good. They're so specialized for good looks, longevity, and disease resistance that they've practically altogether lost their smell. So often what the florist will do is add an additional scent to the flower post-picking. And typically a synthetic rose perfume is used because it lasts longer and doesn't dry out the flower.
That's fucked up. Dude.
Yep,
crazy.
we're just that good. And what's the future for perfumes? Well, I don't know. But what I do know is it's going to involve some comedy gold. Anyway, where was I?
Or not.
Oh, yeah. My wife asked me for Chanel number 5, and I was like, not right now. I'm watching the football.
I don't get that one.
You know, on the television. You know what? I am going to say it. If it's good enough for Kramer, it's good enough for me. Ad time. This Christmas, she works in the big city.
Busy professional. My career, this and that.
But she's going
career,
home for
this and that.
Christmas.
Small towns are the worst. I'm a big city career gal. Oh my
no.
God, are you okay?
I am now. And she's about to learn
this a
the
Lifetime
meaning
movie?
of Nordmas. The most
Nordmas.
VPNist time of year with a 30-day money-back guarantee if you go to nordvpn.com/internethistorian. Ha 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 ha. Soon I will have installed public Wi-Fi in all of Nordville, and once they use it, their private data will be exposed. Governor Craven's got this town by the baubles, and I can't believe that big city company you work for works with him.
Come on, we have to put up the Nordmas lights for the big Nordmas festival.
What? Let's go ice skating. What?
He's so cute, but I'm a city girl.
Girl, you sound like you're in love.
I thought I knew what Nordmas meant, but it means nothing without you.
It's like the end of March.
It's always Nordmas time of year with Nord's huge discount on a 2-year plan. Use the URL, nordvpn.com/internetstory for a 30-day money-back guarantee. It's the best VPN in
I
town.
don't know.
Now I
know.
love small town. And I'm in love with Nordman.
I love
but I
small
can't
town.
leave behind big city Korea.
True love and a really good VPN don't come around too much. You gotta take a chance.
Boss, I don't care about making partner at the firm anymore. I've found my new home.
Big public Wi-Fi is spreading across the city. Nordmas will be ruined.
Ho, ho, ho. Need a hand?
How are we gonna stop him, Nordman?
With this Nord-themed
Literally have no idea.
I love you, Nordman.
And I love you, big city woman. Let's go home and watch the international Netflix catalog. It's a Nordmas miracle.
So he
Go to
made a Christmas movie
nordvpn.com/internethistorian to get a
for months.
huge deal on a
It's
2-year
amazing.
plan plus 4 bonus Nordmas months.
Big city
Ad's
girl.
over. You know, that ad makes me think about the time I nearly had a wife. Feels like a lifetime ago now. I was in Japan, living the digital nomad lifestyle. I had a startup selling seashells down by the seashore. But I broke the one rule of being a digital nomad. I got mad. Digitally. And that's when I saw her. It was love at first sight. I remember her laugh. Her touch. Every morning, breakfast in bed.
Oh my god.
But the truth was, I had no money. We couldn't live on love alone. So I left. I sought out.
Oh, pause. Mine stops working.
One, two.
1444.
Out over its orphan.
Oh,
But
I guess
instead,
that's just-
and I had no money.
Go back.
Oh.
Wow.
So I left. I sought out.
Oh, he must
He
have
had to cut part of it
Okay.
out. Son of a bitch.
That's funny though, because it's
Yep.
yeah. He's like, fuck it, we'll just
And I
leave
bet
it.
you're wondering how I finally struck it rich. Well, truth is, I'm the guy who invented the Joe Rogan podcast. Once I became a gajillionaire, I went back to that beach to try and find her. But instead, I hit her with my
Oh
boat.
my god.
We never found her body. But she had a secret. One she took to her grave that I was sworn not to tell. She's not around, so... Dude, she was a mermaid! Come on, champ, we're going to Japan. And here's where it all begins. In the year 2022. It's a Tuesday, probably. And local folklore researcher Hiroshi Kinoshita is looking up some fantastical animals in the National Yokai Dictionary. It's like the bestiary from Witcher, right? And he comes across a photo negative of a mermaid mummy. Oh my god, he says in Japanese. Upon seeing the mermaid, he knows that he must track it down. He must form a team. Researchers, assemble. So he gets together the best damn crew that he can from the University of Science and Arts at the Okayama Prefecture. And he plans to track down the mermaid mummy, wherever it has escaped to. Now, it doesn't take him long to figure out that it's being held at the Inuin Temple in Asakuchi. You know the one. So he struts up to the sacred building. And there at the back of the temple is a fireproof safe. And inside of that is an old wooden box. And inside the old wooden box was the mermaid. We found it! We found a real one! But where did it come from? Well, alongside the mermaid was a note that dated back from 1903, and it said, "A dried human fish, aka Ningyo, was caught almost 300 years ago over in the seas of Tosa. It was then dried out and taken to Osaka. And from there, it was passed around to many different people until it arrived at the temple." Now, the Ningyo have an important history in Japan, and sightings of these half-fish, half-human creatures have cropped up all across the country. Kinoshita himself had personally tracked down 13 of them all across Japan, usually kept in museums and temples. However, what you might not know is that traditionally they have been associated with bad omens. Aye. And everyone knows the infamous tale of Yao Bikuni. But I'll recite it to you just in case. So the story is that one day, a poor fisherman catches the biggest fish of his life. It was a strange-looking fish, and its head was almost human-like. But he brought the fish home and invited all of his friends and family to come over for a feast to celebrate his largest catch. You know, he's got his arms stretched out like this. He's like, it was this big. No, it was this big. I swear, it was this big. During dinner, one of the guests sneaks into the kitchen to see just how big it was. This big? I can't believe it. And he discovers that it is actually a Ningyo. "Oh no," he says in perfect Japanese. Now he quickly warns the other guests, don't eat it. And he warns them just in time. Teishi, they've got their fork like right up to their mouth. Teishi eating that. Teishi, don't do it. They throw all their food away. Let's just have some rice and drink the night away. Okay, so they do. And they have a lovely evening. However, one very dishonorable guest decided to sneak a bit of the meat out of the trash and put it in his pocket.
They're all cursed.
He then goes home drunk and falls asleep. He didn't eat it. But when he woke up the next morning, he checks his pockets and... no! The delicious fish piece is gone. Turns out, in the night, his daughter had been rummaging around in his pockets looking for treasure, and she found the meat from his pocket. And she was such a greedy guts that she decided to eat it then and there. The father was terrified for his daughter, but she didn't seem to be sick. Do you feel weird at all? And he's shaking her. He decided not to tell her anything. Maybe it'll all be okay.
Or not.
However, from that day forward,
she turns into a
the daughter never aged. That's right. She remained a young adult forever. She eventually went on to marry, but as her husband got older, she stayed the same age. Eventually her father got old and died, and soon enough did her husband too. Everyone she ever knew was getting older and dying, but she remained the same age. She was immortal. Eventually, at age 120, she decided to shave her head and become a Japanese nun. She traveled the country, planting trees as she went, and she did this for 800 years. But eventually, she grew tired. You know what? I'm tired of living. She entered a cave in her hometown of Obama, and she was determined to never come out again. She begged and prayed for the curse to end, but it never did. She sat in that cave for so long that she turned to stone. What? And today, at the Kuinji Temple in Obama, remains the cave that Yao Bikuni entered. People have been into that cave to check whether she's still in there, but nothing was found. However, a stone statue of her resides at the entrance. And colloquially, it is called the Barack Obama. So we're back with Hiroshi. He asked the Inuin temple if he could borrow the Nino. Look, let me do a little CT scan on it, right? And they agreed. Hiroshi hands the Nino to a team of scientists, and they get to work. They do their tests. Beep, beep, boop. Control plus scan on the keyboard, and here are the results.
It's stage 4 cancer.
Oh my God.
I'm so sorry.
No, but really, turns out the Nino dates back to the 1800s. The note that said it was from the 1700s was wrong. Its body is made from cloth and cotton, wrapped in pufferfish skin. The tail was made from a croaker. I don't know what that is. What is it? Can we show that on the screen? With the mouth of a different fish and the hair of a mammal. And they can see that there's a metal nail in its back. Oh my God, it's invented tools. The forensic analysis and the construction materials in its back did cast some doubt over its authenticity. But you gotta believe in something, damn it. Aye. As promised, the Nino was returned to the Inuin temple, where it still lives today. But where, oh where, did my mermaid go? It's her! You're back! You know what, I kind of missed you. And
Kind of.
what the hell is that?
Daddy.
Oh my God.
What the fuck are we watching?
You know what, I never did find her again. I think these things are a big myth.
Oh my God.
He's like Uncle Baby Billy.
We're here on the ancient streets of Cairo, and there is our destination. In these triangles, the greatest luxury that all the elites crave. Oh, God, no, not that. The second most thing that mummies. You can find them in these tombs, and there's only ever like one dude guarding them. But before we take, we must understand. Mummification started over 5,000 years ago, and they were first discovered by the Europeans in the 15th century. But the legend goes the locals knew about them even earlier than that. It's an elaborate process, but essentially you're drying the person out, turning them into a human salami. All right, so when the Europeans found all these mummies, what do you think they did? Well, put it in a museum, right? Wrong. They used these mothers for everything, and everybody wanted them. What do you mean they used them for everything? Well, fancy people would take whole mummies and show them off to their friends at fancy dinners. To really show off the owner's wealth, they would sometimes unwrap them too.
Dude,
They were used as paint.
would be
They call
afraid
this
that I
mummy
would be
brown, by the way.
cursed.
They were used as
Cursed.
fertilizer.
Oh man, talk about supercharging your soil.
They were even consumed.
Don't mind if I do.
No, not like this. By grinding them up into powder and taking them like a herbal supplement, which they called mumia. But with such high demand for your mum, after a while, they began to run out of stock. Uh-oh. They were becoming rarer and rarer to find. They were being gobbled off the face of the earth. So the authorities passed a bunch of laws to protect mummies from becoming altogether extinct. These are the last two of their species, and they're both
There's only
male,
two?
but they
No.
won't mate.
That.
No. But the mummy is much like the Tasmanian tiger. Every once in a while, one will just kinda show up and prove that they're not altogether extinct.
Open the door.
The year 2013. The location,
Forgot about that.
Diefels in northwest Germany. We are at the Kettler household, owned by grandfather Kettler, who is now dead. But he had a son, Lutz Kettler, and Lutz Kettler also had a son, Alexander Kettler, and they are both there at the house. After a rainy day, there was a leak in the roof. So 10-year-old Kettler gets up into the attic to explore. You know, have a bit of a look around. There's a whole bunch of stuff in there. Old antiques, photographs, and, oh, some old roof tiles. those will be useful. So he goes over to the roof tiles and, behind them is something strange. A box. A mystery box. Now the kid is smart and he's seen Jumanji, so he knows not to touch the box and instead go tell his dad. Now the dad drags the box into the center of the room. And he opens it. And inside, a smaller box. But it's very curious because it is covered in hieroglyphs. So Lutz crosses his fingers, hoping nothing supernatural will happen. And he opens the inner box.
Hell no.
Inside is a mummy.
I would die.
Oh
I
my
would
God.
die.
But there's more. There's also two smaller boxes. One contained a death mask, and the other a canopic jar. All right, so he might have a dead body in the house now. So naturally, he calls the authorities. The police show up and ask some questions.
You're cursed at that
Lutz
point.
then explains a little bit of backstory. He remembers that in the 1950s, his father went to Derna in Libya. There, he acquired a chest and had it shipped back home. He remembers a conversation about it, but Grandfather Kettler insisted that it was a replica. Das ist ein Replika, son. Not a real mummified person. Now, at this point, the police did not think it was a real body, but it was worth getting it scanned just in case. So he loaded it up in his station wagon, and off he went to the Berlin Archaeological Institute.
Take that.
Now, they agreed to do a scan, and so they're fiddling with buttons and dials and stuff, and it's fake, right? It's fake? Well, here's where things get a little more dramatic. Results inconclusive. There is a fully formed skeleton here. Now that is unusual for a fake. Often a fake will just be shaped like a person, then filled with sticks and cloth and rubbish. However, it got even stranger. They found that all of the bones were wrapped in some sort of metal plating or foil.
Wolverine.
Next they looked at the skull, and that's where things were the most odd. It was very realistic. Its teeth had roots. Its form was more intricate than the typical fake. It also had a laurel, but even more notably,
What was that?
there was an arrowhead lodged in the eye socket. Now that is very unusual for a fake. Hold on, I got more evidence to do. So they're doing more tests and stuff. All right, we've carbon tested the linen wraps. What's the verdict? Well, those are from the 1900s. Now the plot is thickening. We have a supposed fake mummy, but with a very realistic skull, perhaps murdered by an arrow to the head and bandages that date to the modern day. That presents a new problem, because it's not unheard of for people to do a murder in the modern day and then cover things up by disguising the body as an ancient artifact. For example, in the year 2000, there was a man who claimed he found the mummy of an ancient Persian princess, the daughter of Xerxes. However, when they examined the body, they found it was, in fact, a potential murder victim from 1996 who died from bludgeoning. All right, so the police now actually have to get involved, and it's about to get even more complicated. So they confiscate the body and they do their own tests, and the results this time say, nope, this thing is 2,000 years old. It's not fake at all. It's ancient. What? So eventually the experts all get together and go, okay, this is dumb. Let's take it to Eppendorf University and have it properly tested, and not just tested, crack the thing open like a delicious Kinder Surprise. So this new set of experts gets to work, and when they open up the mummy... All right, remember how we said that the bones were covered in a special type of foil or metal plating?
Yes.
Well, it turns out the scientists didn't quite get that right. Instead, the bones were sprayed with a metallic chemical that prevented X-rays from going through. The bones were made from plastic. Or at least, the body was. Turns out, the skull is real. Yes, a real skull, and not from an ancient mummy, but from a 20th century man. However, it was not a murder. This skull is from a cadaver, and it was medically prepared for educational purposes.
How did they know that?
And what about that arrowhead? Well, it turns out that that's from a children's toy. Someone just popped that in the eye socket as a joke. So finally, the mystery was solved. It's just a plastic skeleton with a real dead guy's head put on it. Wait, how does that solve the mystery? Anyway, so Lutz was satisfied that the whole thing was fake and not a murder victim. Oh, let's put that back in the attic, he said very Germanly. But then, eine Bitte? Was ist das? He says. Another box?
Oh no.
The Book of the Dead?
Oh,
well, that sounds like a fun read. So Lutz starts reading the ancient Egyptian out loud. Anaxunamun, Imhotep, Brendan Fraser. And what happened next will shock you and make for a very good thumbnail. Hey there, champ. You're probably wondering why I'm out here on this park bench. Sometimes I just come to see the autumn leaves. Winter will be here soon. Dust in the wind. Truth is, sport, I have a highly contagious respiratory disease. I won't be around much longer. Dust in the wind. I'm like Willy Wonka from that movie.
From that movie.
And you're like that ugly kid from the Willy Wonka movie who gets all his stuff. Or the Oompa Loompa. I don't know. I haven't seen it. The point is you're so close to being fancy. I can feel it. There's just one lesson left to learn. Anyway, speaking of ancient Egypt, here's this ancient Egyptian gun. Franz Ferdinand, what are you doing here? Of course, he's not the real Franz Ferdinand. He's a mummy. Now, the thing about the ancient Egyptian gun is that it's very Uh-oh. I hit your congratulations for being somewhat fancy cake. Come on, Mr. Ferdinand. We've got to clean this up before the Park Services Commission hears about this, and they make another complaint. Right, we're almost done with the series, and then it's back to the usual content. So in case you missed it, there's also Drinking on Incognito, a new story mode out next week. And if you like fancy, that's great. But if you don't like fancy, don't worry, it's not forever. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Of him, obviously, but like, I don't know.
It was his assassination that started World War One. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why that whole thing was the way it was.
I feel like I just watch these and I'm just like, it's just like a weird fever dream of like, I don't understand the references. I don't know what's happening. I'm just here for the ride and not to understand 95% of it.
Yeah, I catch most of it.
Yeah.
Unless it's just like some little thing in the corner that he's written and it's just like too quick.
Yeah.
He called one of the mummies gay. It was like fake, gay.
Oh,
like,
no, I didn't see that.
So ridiculous.
A lot of it, yeah, this was just kind of like jam-packed with like the random stuff.
Again, my favorite thing was the NordVPN ad.
I think that
shit
was
so
my
funny.
least favorite just because I was like, what?
Well, he's making fun of like all of the,
cheesy,
Lifetime channel, Hallmark channel Christmas movies. She's just a city girl.
Deodorant? Deodorant buy. I'm going to think of that like every time I put deodorant on now.
And dude, I can't believe you didn't know about the Kramer incident. Like, it's just so notorious. Because it is like the video of him doing that shit. He is having
There's a
full
video
blown.
of it?
Hell yeah, he is having a full blown meltdown. It's not like he just says it. He is like screaming it.
No.
And then like defending him saying it and screaming it more. Like,
what were they like? All right, we're gonna roll out, or we're just gonna sit
like,
here and wait
fuck.
because this man is threatening everyone and being very weird.
I believe, it was probably a hostile situation.
Yeah, sounds like it.
But yeah, dude.
Yeah, you were like, you don't know about Kramer? And I was like, is this a new comedian that I don't know?
No, it's like that whole
It's like
episode
24,
was.
25 years old.
20, almost.
We said
20
like,
years ago,
yeah.
2005-ish,
Oh.
I think.
no.
You don't want to think about that, do you?
Nope.
The passage of time. There you go. We've been fancified with the oddities of the fanciness.
If that's what you can call it.
Dude, all of that shit about, like, the Egyptian shit we pretty much knew about, because I think you talked about it before
Yes.
in something else. And
Yeah.
then when it comes to, like, the perfume and cologne shit, I learned a lot.
Well, like,
I had no idea. What about the whale shit, natural shit packaging for sharp objects?
what
they use?
about them taking actual poop and being like, this is great for perfume?
I have no answers.
I don't understand.
Yeah, but like women, it's different for y'all. That's a whole nother thing.
That's what I was like, are we
Because
going to get into this? Are we
y'all
going to go
use
here?
all kinds of crazy shit for different reasons.
Oh,
that
that's
don't
not
make
what I
no
was going to
sense.
say. Because I was going to say, like, pheromones and
yeah.
male stinkiness, like, you know, like just the smell, and then you're like, you know, smell at your partner and who you
When
like.
we're talking about women and smells, you know, I can't get past the idea of like a douche existing. Like, even when I was a kid, when I first heard about it, I was just like, man, I would be
That's the thing.
stinking. I don't give a fuck.
It's not
I would
this
be
makes
stinking.
me so angry. And
Did a woman or a man come up with the
I
idea?
don't
Like, who
know.
invented the douche?
like, I understand the thought process behind it,
Yeah.
but it's like shown to be like not good. Don't use those.
It's probably not
Don't
good to
do
wear
those.
perfume or cologne anyway.
It's not. It
But
can
like
cause
to
cancer.
just take it and just like flush your innards
Well,
with
I
it
think
is kind of wild.
originally it was just, and I could be wrong. Okay, my dad would tell me the story.
Time out. No, I might do it, but only to
Oh,
just
you
like
might- oh, you
shoot the
might?
water. That'd be the only reason I would really do it. I wouldn't do it for the effect
You have
of
a lot
like,
of power.
but I would do it for like, yeah, the Kegel force to see if I could just.
You aim it.
Can you aim it? I can aim mine. I don't.
Yeah.
You
I think-
can.
yeah. Well, I mean, it wouldn't be.
Look, if people can get good at shooting like ping pong balls out of it, I'm sure douche water is navigable.
So, my dad told me the reason that I ever found out, like the first time I ever found out, you know, I'd heard people say douchebag, and I just
Yeah,
Yeah.
I had no clue what it meant. What it
But
meant.
then my dad said that he visited his grandmother, okay, and she had this weird tube thing on the back of her bathroom door, and they were like, "Woo, what's this? This is so weird." And she's like, "Don't touch that!"
Oh my god.
And eventually she, like, I guess had to explain to them, and I think that they used to use vinegar and water. I could be wrong.
All right.
But anyway, I don't know why we're talking about this. It's really bad for you.
Because we were talking about perfume, and that's kind of like
Well, I think
Post
that,
perfume.
like, you know, originally it was like more of a water and like a natural solution. And then they started doing like scenty things.
Yeah.
They started making like scented pads
Pine-Sol.
and scented toilet paper, and people got UTIs like crazy because your body doesn't need that stuff. That's crazy.
But your
Don't
nose
be
do.
shoving perfume in weird orifices. But anyway.
Yeah. What a crazy thing that is, and what a wild video. Glad we got to it. Glad we got to watch it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed our reaction to it.
And our rant about douches.
Yeah, including you. Yes, I'm looking at you.
Here we are.
Bye.
Bye!